Thank you.
Call Mr. Paul Givan, Chairperson of the Justice Committee. Mr. Givan.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, and I'm pleased to be able to speak on this motion today, and can I commend my colleagues Pam Lewis and Paula Bradley for putting forward this motion and using their maiden speeches to speak on an issue and giving voice to people who often aren't able to give voice to these concerns, and I think they're to be commended for the motion that they've put forward today. Statistics are often used to highlight an issue or to make a particular point, and it's important that we don't forget behind every statistic there's an individual and there's a family that's affected by those statistics and these circumstances. Members have already pointed out some of them. In 2010-11, the police responded to 24,482 domestic violence incidents. Put another way, one domestic violence incident reported every 21 minutes. Of these incidents, 9,903 of them were recorded as crimes, and it is estimated that almost 11,000 children are living with domestic violence in their home. And every day, 5 women and children turn to a refuge for help. And for those who don't turn to a refuge, there are many other families who often help out a brother or a sister that are involved in a relationship or a marriage where domestic violence, sadly, is commonplace. I therefore have no doubt that the Committee for Justice will want to ensure that domestic violence is a priority for the Department and for the Minister of Justice. However, it is important to state that tackling domestic violence, as other members have already stated, just does not sit with the Justice Department. Often the Justice Department and the police are dealing with incidents after they have taken place. It's important that we, as an Assembly, as an Executive, have our statutory bodies working together to try and prevent these incidents from happening in the first place, but that when they do, it's a coordinated response and approach that is taken to this very important issue. If this issue is to be addressed effectively, it will require a range of departments and organisations, but I think in particular the Department of Health, Social Services and Public Safety to work together in partnership at tackling it. Other members have already pointed out that there's also a duty on the community, on neighbours, on family, to no longer sit by and to tolerate what they hear as reports of abuse taking place, but that people have confidence in the government and the systems in place to report these incidents and that they're then taken forward and tackled effectively. There have been some recent changes that I welcome that will help deliver fair treatment for the victims of domestic violence, and these were supported by the previous Committee on Justice. There was a change to the law that replaced the existing partial defence to murder of provocation by loss of control. This can be used when loss of self-control was attributable to a fear of serious violence and can be applied to years of abuse, whereas the previous law focused only on the spur-of-the-moment actions. And many people will know that domestic violence and abuse takes over a long period of time and just does not happen on a one-off occasion. Also, members have highlighted the change to the legal aid rules, providing increased assistance for victims of domestic violence, and this should ensure that no victim of domestic violence needs to worry about the financial implications of seeking a non-molestation order. And again, it makes the point that there cannot be any barriers that would prevent or discourage people from reporting this, and that victims need to have confidence that the state will be able to effectively respond. I think the Committee for Justice will wish to ensure that further progress is made, and that we will want to consider very carefully the proposals to tackle domestic violence in the new Community Safety Strategy. This was touched on only just last Thursday at the Committee, and during that it was highlighted that a major issue often at the heart of domestic violence, but absolutely no excuse for it, is that of alcohol abuse and drug abuse. And I think this Assembly needs to seriously consider the impact and the devastating impact that the abuse of alcohol is having on our society. And we have talked about the issue of introducing a minimum pricing policy, because it cannot be right that in our supermarkets it's cheaper to buy alcohol than it is water or milk. And there is no doubt alcohol abuse is a major problem, and we need to seriously think about how that's going to be addressed, because it impacts upon so many aspects of our society, not least in domestic violence. But again, I make it clear that is no excuse whatsoever for it ever taking place in the first place. So,
the member brings remarks to close, please.
I know these are important issues to members. Can I assure you, as Committee of the Justice Committee, this is something that we will make sure is a priority for the Department and for the Minister to be looking at as well, and I commend the motion to